Hello and welcome to this video on modernist theories of religion, interactionism and Weberianism. Structural theories such as functionalism, Marxism and feminism, as we saw in the previous video, see religion as an external force which works on people to mould them into social conformity. Interactionists, however, study the meanings and interpretations of individuals in order to understand behaviour, arguing instead that individuals create society, and so in this sense, individuals would be creating the meanings perhaps behind religion. So interactionists look at the way religion is used by followers to create meanings and interpretations of the world. However, one thing they have in common with those previous theories is they still see religion as a conservative force. Interactionists look to understand the meanings of, for example, sacred symbols and what these mean for individuals. An example could be the Shroud of Turin. This is, in fact, an old piece of cloth which really has no value whatsoever and in of itself has no importance. However, some people attach sacred meanings to it as they believe it to be the burial shroud of Christ, and so it's taken on a different meaning for those individuals. Berger argues religion provides a universe of meaning, that is, a set of beliefs and values that helps people to make sense of the world. Religion also provides what we call a Theodicy, a religious framework that enables people to make sense of the inexplicable and fundamental questions about human existence. So all of us have probably thought before, what exactly is the meaning of life, or why do people die, or what happens to us when we do? Why is there so much injustice in the world and suffering, and why do people die young, or why do the good people die at all? And these sorts of questions are answered by that Theodicy, or they give us the framework to think within. Religion is therefore a sacred canopy providing a shield from the difficult aspects of life. It's a coping mechanism. Therefore, religion contributes to the maintenance of social stability, and therefore we can see again that it is in fact a conservative force. Stark and Bainbridge see religion as meeting the needs of individuals when their sense of order is disrupted. So religion in this sense is a compensator. It provides us with hope and compensates us for life's difficulties. So when we're having a tough time, we can kind of turn to religion, and this helps to make us feel a bit better. Religion therefore contributes once again to the stability of society, and again we can see that it is a conservative force, a force that prevents social change. Max Weber looked at religion in a slightly different way. Unlike structuralist perspectives and the view of interpretativists, Weber believed religion acts as a force for social change. So religion is not always acting as a conservative force, it actually can make changes in society. Weber believed that the European capitalism that we now live within had its roots in the Protestant Christian Reformation, and in specifically one particular type of Protestant denomination, namely Calvinism. He wrote a book that was concerned with how Protestant thought underpinned capitalism, and this was known as The Protestant Work Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. Calvinists encouraged and prioritised hard work whilst renouncing physical pleasures and comfort. They earned money, they reinvested their profits, and ultimately this kick-started capitalism, or so Weber believed. And so in that sense, if this is true, then this is a major social change that has been caused by religion. So John Calvin, the founder of Calvinism, laid down a whole range of different ideas and precepts for his followers to follow. But Weber zooms in on four in particular, which he believes are the ones that ultimately led to the creation of contemporary, or at least the roots of contemporary European capitalism. The first of which is predestination, the idea that God has predetermined which souls are going to be saved before they were even born. These are referred to as the elect, and individuals can do absolutely nothing to change this. It's already been decided, it is what it is. Next, divine transcendence. This is the idea that God is so immeasurably and ridiculously huge and great and powerful that no human being is ever going to be able to understand him or what he's all about, what his will is. And it's this, tied with predestination, is what caused Calvinists to have what was known as salvation panic. That is, they were terrified they were going to go to hell. Next, asceticism. This is the idea of self-discipline, self-denial. It's living a very basic, frugal existence, living a bit like a Spartan. You're going to shun all luxury. It's all about the basics. Finally, vocation, the idea of constant, methodical work in an occupation of some description, working really hard, becoming really skilled at this one job, and dedicating yourself to it absolutely, totally, and using the gifts that God has given you. However, no matter how hard you work, that's not going to gain you salvation, even if God likes it, because remember, predestination means that God's already decided if you're going to heaven or not. So what happened? Well, because of these beliefs, Calvinists shunned all luxury, as previously stated. They worked really long hours and practiced rigorous self-discipline. Their wealth and success, which logically followed, performed a psychological function for the Calvinists that allowed them to cope with their salvation panic. So what started to happen is, as they got a bit wealthy and they saw themselves being successful, they couldn't help but start to think to themselves, well, God must like me at least a little bit, because he wouldn't be allowing this to work. He wouldn't have allowed me to be successful. Now remember, they're not like living in the lap of luxury. They're not living an extravagant lifestyle. They live in a very basic lifestyle, but they're looking at their, what you might call, bank accounts and saying, well, this is getting big and my business is growing and ostensibly I'm doing very well. So God must like me, and it made them feel a little bit more comfortable. Their work ethic, whilst not permitting themselves to squander it on luxuries, plus the fact that they reinvested in their businesses everything they earned, created yet further growth and prosperity. And according to Weber, this is the spirit of modern capitalism. So how can we evaluate this? Well, Marxists would argue that Weber overestimates the role of ideas and underestimates economic factors that in fact created capitalism. Furthermore, Marxists would point to the idea that capitalism probably preceded rather than followed Calvinism, that its roots go back even further than Calvinism even existing. Furthermore, technological change, not religious ideas, arguably caused the birth of capitalism. It was only after capitalism was established that the bourgeoisie adopted Calvinist beliefs to legitimize their pursuit of economic gain. So the argument here is that we saw some changes in technology, in particular things like the creation of the printing press, the creation of the loom, and the ability to move physical goods around the country much quicker. So the earliest forms of transportation. These are the things that actually brought about capitalism, not specifically a set of sort of religious beliefs. And then what happened was, as people started to get wealthy, well, they started to worry that perhaps they were going to be looked upon as being kind of decadent and wasteful and frivolous. And so they needed a set of beliefs to kind of back them up and make them look as if it was acceptable for them to be this wealthy, and probably make themselves feel a bit better about themselves too. And so Calvinism became a useful thing to adopt in order to look acceptable and presentable in society. Finally, capitalism did not develop in every country where there were Calvinists. So Scotland, for example, a whole bunch of Calvinists, but no early capitalism in the way that perhaps we saw it grow in the south of the United Kingdom and also Germany and a bit of France too. That's it. Thank you very much.